Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Two Girls, One Doc.
One Doc.
It's your girl, BD.
It's Foreign's the foodie.
And we are back. I really wish I had more energy for this episode because, I'm really looking forward to talking about it. But, work today was so long. When you just look at your life and you're just like,
what is this?
So this is it then till retirement.
Nah, it's not it. It's not it. It's definitely not
Honestly,
it.
I just I swear to God.
It's not it. But it's just right now.
So I'm drinking today because we haven't been drinking on the podcast. If anyone new here, before COVID, we'd meet up, bring a bottle, drink, talk about the wine, talk about the documentaries. It was a great time, right? But today's documentary is about counterfeit wine, okay? And part of me was like, do I even want to drink when they're talking about bottles of wine that cost $16,000, yeah? And mine cost probably $6,000, yeah? But I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to, in the spirit of dedication to the podcast and winery, yeah?
Yeah.
So I'm drinking Snoop Dogg's wine. It's called Cali Red.
Oh, yeah. I've been wanting to try that.
Yeah, it's called Cali Red.
How is it?
And, yeah, that's me today.
Is it nice?
I need it after this day. Yeah, it's. Let me try it. It has like a oaky afterbirth.
I was literally going to say that.
I knew you were gonna say. I saw it in your eyes. But it's cool. It's nice. Obviously, I wasn't really a red kind of girl back in the day, but
yeah,
I've since matured.
Yeah, I'm wanting to give that a try, so I might purchase it and just see what it's saying.
But yeah, it's this documentary is called Sour Grapes. We had to find it online.
Yeah,
because it was on Netflix at a time. It was, but it's not anymore. Not for us anyway. I tried different VPNs. It wasn't there. But anyway, yeah, it's a documentary. It's about counterfeit wine.
I could sum this up
in
what
do you mean? 2
lines. It's just rich white folk being duped. It's like that art scamming one.
The art one.
Yeah.
So, and we actually have a familiar face from the documentary.
Yeah, we do.
Documentary. It's just, I love documentaries like this because it's just I love to see, these rich white, I have fuck off money kind of people lose said money to dumb shit.
Yeah, because it's ridiculous. When they talk about wealth, this is ridiculous. I don't really care how much you love wine. There's no reason to spend $100,000 on a bottle of wine.
It doesn't make sense.
There's nothing. I don't care how many years old it is, and
I don't care who owned it.
It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, and the truth of the matter is, once you open that wine, it becomes useless.
Yeah, the thing that I love about this is that it just goes to show that if somebody places value in something and they think that it's all about value, what you place value in. Because there is no bottle of wine that you could sell me that I would say, okay, yeah, cool, 100k makes sense.
Yeah, even when I'm rich.
Yeah. I don't understand. Anyway, let's get into it. So this documentary opens up. We're in Burgundy, France, yeah, and we meet this winemaker. His name is Laurent Poisson, yeah, and he's talking about his love. I mean, he's talking about wine. This whole bit is kind of in French, and I am not a French speaker, but I feel and there were no captions, but I feel he was saying wine's amazing and such, and their family and the history of the winery and all that stuff. That's the vibe that I was getting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But didn't you put on the subtitles? There were subtitles.
Oh, was it? Was that an option?
Yeah, I put on subtitles.
Normally when they're not speaking English, they just come up.
No, they put on I actually put on subtitles.
So what was he actually saying then?
He was just talking about how his family has always they've always been winemakers.
So I was right.
He's a winery, wine is in his blood. I mean, yeah, you were right, but there were subtitles.
There you go, see? Yeah. Maybe I am a French speaker. Maybe I just haven't unlocked it yet.
Girl, bye.
So there's this whole bit saying how important wine is to culture, history, all that kind of stuff. Okay, cool. Fast forward. Now we're in San Francisco, California, which is where my wine comes from today. Cali Red.
Cali
Probably
Red.
Not San Fran.
Yeah.
But California is California, innit?
The wine country.
And we're at this wine auction. One bottle goes for over $10,000, yeah. And it's like, these are all like rich guys. Their hobby is to collect wines and stuff. Okay, one such guy, we are introduced to him as Hollywood Jeff. Okay, I think that name alone tells you what to expect from this kind of person.
Yeah.
But his name is Hollywood Jeff, and there's this other guy. They're like wine snobs, and they meet 8 times a year to taste wines together. Yeah, they call it the Angry Men Club.
I feel like when it comes to wine, people lie. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I feel like people, it's all bullshit. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, for me, as long as the alcohol is sweet, I'm good. Like, I just feel like people lie, all this like full-bodied this, that. Yeah, like some wines are heavier than others, great. But like,
I think that there are distinctions. I think there are distinctions between it, and I think wines can be categorized by the way that they taste.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like these lot saying, oh no, this is a Romani Conti, this is a when they say all that stuff, I'm just like, you people are chatting shit. All it takes is one person who's the most rated, the leader of the group has to say something, and then everyone else is like, yeah, I agree,
but personally for me, I can't tell like the difference between a £5 barefoot bottle of wine I buy and like a £300 bottle of wine. And I think maybe I just
when did you have £300 bottle of wine?
No, I've gone to places that have expensive wine. I did not say I paid for that said bottle or said glass.
I tried one time. I went out for my birthday and I had this wine and I was like, okay, I kind of, it was smoother. Do you know what I mean? It was a bit more like, you know?
Maybe, but yeah,
I just don't think it's to the extent that these guys are chatting about, and maybe it's because they're in it. Do you know
like,
what I mean?
You can tell, like, if
but
you're
like
talking about bags, you can tell the difference between a Shein bag and like a very well designed, like a very well, like a good bag. Basically, it doesn't have to be like.
So you're basically saying you can tell the difference between like a fake leather and a real leather.
Yeah, but like with the wine, I'm not gonna lie. Some are nicer, but is it to the extent these people are offering about? I don't think so.
No, and this is what I'm saying. Part of it is, to them, yes, it is. To them, it is. They probably couldn't tell the difference between a Shein bag and a Chanel. They probably couldn't. And the way Chanel's quality is going these days, we probably couldn't. Yeah, but I'm just saying that, like, to them, it's a palate thing, like it's a taste thing.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't think it's all bullshit. I do think that there are differences, yeah. But I think what is bullshit is there's like a certain level of pretense about it all.
Yeah.
Where it's like they're all trying to like one up each other. Like, oh yeah, I can tell the difference. Like, anyway, let's get into it, yeah, because that's what this whole thing is about. So they meet together, these group of guys called the Angry Men Club, yeah. And the reason why they've called themselves that is because they're the guys in the group that bring really good wines to parties, and everyone else brings really shit wines, and that makes them angry. So now they form this group where they can all bring good wines and like have good wines together. And I'm just like, okay, whatever, do you like, as long as you're not on the internet being incels, yeah, whatever. But like, it's still just sad. Like, I'm looking at you and I'm like, okay, babes, like whatever floats your motherfucking boat, yeah. So next we meet Maureen Downey, who at first I think is quite normal, but she's just one of them, just a woman, yeah. She basically expresses what we're thinking at this time, and she says,
what these guys actually had, it's what Americans call fuck you money. Well, I got a $3 million bonus. I'm going to take $1 million of that and blow it. And that's their fuck you money. They're going to do whatever they want with it. They don't care. There's no consequences. And it's a kind of money that most human beings never experience.
Maureen is actually part of this world, so she runs an auction house. She's part of this world, but I don't think she's like rich or from money.
Yeah, I think she's just around it. I don't think she's from it. She looks like Meghan Trainor. That's actually what she looks like. Meghan Trainor's not bad.
Yeah, no, I'm just laughing at, because when I think Meghan Trainor and like sophisticated wines, this is not.
Yeah, but she gives the same energy. Yeah, she doesn't give sophisticated energy. She just happens to be very knowledgeable, but her energy is not sophisticated.
She just fell into this. Yeah, and she's good at it, so she's here. Yeah. So Maureen learns about this guy called Rudy Kurniawan, right? She describes him as a skinny, geeky guy who likes wine. And his whole thing, this Rudy guy, he's trying to come up into the auction scene. And Maureen is like, oh, you know, he used to drink Merlot, right? And I was like,
okay, so
bitch. And so I'm trying to find the faults, yeah. She was like, it was weird because like his wines that he used to drink only had 1 0 at the end of it, not 4. I'm sorry, anyone paying £10 for a bottle of wine, yeah? I have a fish in the desert to sell you, yeah? Whatever the fucking saying is, yeah? Because I was just like, maybe that's us now, innit? Even when I get to the point where like I can afford crazy bottles of wine, yeah, I still don't think I would take
it's
my
just not what I
money.
See value in spending my money on, because also if I'm gonna buy wine, I'm gonna drink it. I'm not keeping it and collecting.
I'm not collecting it.
Like, my dad has some like old bottles of wine and stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, like, are we opening this or not? Like, what's
Like, is it now or not?
Literally, what's really good? So for me, I'm not.
Or are we planning to sell it? In which case, cool.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not buying wine to keep. So I'm not. If something I'm going to drink that's going to be out of my system by the next morning,
Once I break the seal,
like, I'm not really spending double zeros on that. Like, I think the absolute most I would spend on a bottle of wine is like maybe, and I'm talking about like even when I'm super super rich, maybe like 30, 40, maybe 50.
Even hearing those numbers, that's what
if it's a special occasion.
In my head I said 50, but I was like, 50, really? I'm not sharing it with nobody.
If it's a special
I'm not
occasion,
sharing it with a soul.
Literally,
this is mine.
Yeah, literally.
But the thing is, the reason why I'm like, okay, cool, I hear it, is because I would drink it. Like, if someone's telling me, oh, this wine is da-da-da, I want to try that, but I'm not paying for it.
Yeah, there are loads of things I want to try that I wouldn't pay for. That doesn't mean I'm going to bring out my own money to pay for it.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not for wine.
Not for wine, man. Not something
Not
that's
for wine.
I'm going to pee out. Like, let's be for, bitch, be for fucking real. Like,
Let's try. So the talking heads are saying that Rudy had an amazing palate, right? Hollywood Jeff says that he was correct at all the wines, especially with blind tastings, and everyone's really impressed by him. He's this young guy, he's been in the game for 18 months, but his knowledge was vast. Yeah, this is just like almost like big broism in reverse.
Yeah,
like they're just like on this guy's dick because he can identify wines. Okay, cool. We see a lot of footage of Rudy during wine tastings, and he looks really unassuming. Like, he really loves wine, and he meets with this journalist called Corey, I think her name was. And the rumor is that he's from a rich family, but he never confirms, he never denies, right? He just always like kind of like deflects. He's like, he doesn't want to talk about his family. So he's kind of like disrupting the status quo because it's an old man's game, white man's game, and he's basically spending lots of money really quickly and getting involved. So Rudy is not white. He is like not Southeast Asian. He's East Asian. I think he's from China. They said he's from China, but he grew up in Taiwan. So we meet this guy, yeah, and they describe him as a Burgundy enthusiast. Burgundy is a kind of wine made by the guy at the beginning of the documentary, the French guy, yeah. The oldest one that this enthusiast has had was made in 1969, right? But Rudy has had one that was made in 1943. And this guy is like, oh my God, like, Rudy's had like a 1943. It's so amazing. Because the older the wine, the more precious it is or whatever, yeah, cool. And there's this bit where we're in this wine cellar, yeah, it's like really quick, but there's one bottle of wine they sell for £600. I was already like, rah, £600, wild, yeah. And then there's this Romani Conti in 1990 that they sell for 20k.
Can you imagine?
20,000, and that's for a 1990. That one that the guy had, the 1969 and the 1943, like, that, imagine how much those are going for.
A house deposit.
I understand why this guy did what he did,
yeah.
So the point of this bit is that basically Rudy has kind of driven up the demand for these like Romani Conti Burgundy wines, and he's profiting from it, yeah. Now let's talk about Bill Cook, right? He's this old white guy who loves wine, and I think the most important part of this is that he's rich, yeah.
Yeah.
He has enough. The value of his wine cellar, yeah, is probably like the GDP of a small country.
Yeah. He has 43,000 bottles.
Bottles, singular bottles of wine. Even if each one costs £1.
That's £43,000.
I'm sorry, yeah. He has a bathroom which is a wine theme, yeah. He has this wine that is from 1787 that was owned by Thomas Jefferson, that the American president guy, yeah. This paid $100,000 for that bottle, and not just that one, but a few more like it.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted this documentary to be them itemizing and pricing
all
these 40,000 bottles,
yeah,
and telling us what is this, and then I was thinking, these bottles are glass, like they're fragile. What if there's one earthquake?
Even I think like people, whoever brings that bottle of wine down, you have a very whatever job, because you can't trip, you can't fall, you can't nada. That's your 2 years salary.
Fam.
I don't know, it's crazy to me that there's this kind of wealth in the world.
But I just think, like, imagine you're moving house, like, then you actually have to move all those bottles of wine.
No, but you just
wouldn't
can't
move, would you?
What's he moving for?
Yeah, that's your land, even not even just your home. That's your land.
I wish someone would bequeath onto me like just one bottle. One bottle would set me good.
Does he have grandsons or?
Bro.
Because for you to have that much or have spent
and
that
that's
much
just
money,
that's just that, like, and
That's
there's
your play
other
money.
things that you have, like, that is crazy.
wild. So this whole documentary, basically, as you probably figured out, is about a scam, fake wine, right? So Corey, the journalist, says that Rudy was an expert on fake wine, and says that he had bought so much fake wine that he had to become an expert on it, basically so that he wouldn't get duped again, when really you are an expert on fake wine because you make fake wine and sell it, right? I mean, I'm not mad at him, to be honest. So Rudy's cool with this guy called John Capon, anyway, and he sells $35 million worth of his wine using John. So John kind of has like a auction house,
a wine house,
and the fact that Rudy's selling so much wine through him puts John's auction house at the top. So Bill Coke gets duped by Rudy. He pays $25,000 for a bottle of wine from 1921, but then it turns out that it's fake, as in like that particular type of wine hadn't been made till 1937. So he literally paid $25,000 of wine for barefoot, essentially. Is that not madness? Like, the margins on that is crazy. Like, Rudy must have been making a killing.
Sign me the fuck up. I keep saying I need to start scamming people.
Honestly,
it's
because
the way
this
forward.
Cause he lives, I'm not living.
And also, I just feel like this recession isn't hitting, like, which is good. But I just feel like I remembered that other recession, like I remembered the way everything felt. Like, things are insane now, but I just feel like people who have money are, like, I don't know how to explain it.
They haven't been affected.
Yeah,
like
I
the other recession, like everybody was down
affected.
Bad.
Yeah, because maybe
everybody.
It's because it affected the bankers and all of this, and those are the people like with a lot of money back then. But like, now I literally look around and I'm like, nobody. For me,
is it just me?
Literally, I'm literally like, bro, like, is it actually just fucking me and like other, like, people who are rich, I just feel like they've been untouched.
They're fine. I don't think that they even know what they say. What's the cause he lives from? There's no cost of living crisis.
Like, even when you think about someone like Beyonce, right? Like, her bread and butter, like, entertainment, blah, blah, blah. This tour she's doing, the ticket prices are just as expensive as they were last time, and people still bought them. So it's like, she's obviously not going to know there's a cost of living crisis, because as far as she knows, her tour sold out, she's making just as much money. I was like, for you stans, she really could have lowered that price knowing all that was going on. Like, she could have,
but it's not cost of living. There's no cost to her living, fam. It's not.
She could have afforded to have been like, okay, guys, I'm gonna do a £30 all round, like, because I know shit. Maybe that's their own side of things. That okay, venues are more expensive to whatever. I don't know. I just don't feel like it affects them personally. Yeah.
Like, I don't think Beyonce is counting pennies and thinking, oh shit, I can only buy 8 bananas now. I used to buy 12. Do you get what I mean? I don't think...
even, like, just even anything. There's even, like, with all this stuff about influencers and how detached they are and the stuff they say, they're not detached because they're nasty people. They are detached because it's not their reality. Like, how can you wake up one day and say, oh, like, the heating isn't working, so you're going to go and stay in... Where was it? The hotel this babe said she's going to go and stay in one really, really luxury... Is it the Dorchester? How can you... Like, if my heating is...
Who said that?
Some white, like... I'll send you her TikTok. She's jarring as fuck, calls stuff like some country grandma. It's really weird. Like, she's only in her 30s, but she likes to have this aesthetic, like she's like a 60-year-old country estate. It's just weird. Her whole vibe is weird. But either way, I'm not saying I'm poor. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm very lucky and privileged and all whatnot. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh my gosh, like, I can't do this and that. But either way, if my heating wasn't working, I'm fucking putting on layers.
Layers.
Like, are you stupid or are you dumb?
Both. They're both
so
yeah, that's wild.
For me, this documentary was a victimless crime. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't see
even the victims themselves. Most of them by the end, they were just like, like, it's really not that deep. And I'm like, it fucking isn't.
I feel like, okay, cool, fraud is wrong, misrepresenting, lying is wrong. I hear that, but like, I'm selling you something that you wholly believe is worth 25k, and so you bought it for 25k. And so where's the crime?
Perception Perception is more important than reality. If you perceive this thing to be 100, who am I to
tell you that it's not?
No, I'm sorry. Right. For me, I'm really like, eat the fucking rich. Like, I don't see a victim. Like, there's There's no victim.
And there's rich and there's rich. I'm sorry, but if you can afford, to spend $100,000
On a bottle of wine.
USD on a bottle of wine, then
Count me the
like,
fuck out.
it's only because you're not around like ends that you don't get robbed. Because low-key, like, where's Robin Hood and them, man? Because I'm telling you, that means, and the thing is, he didn't just buy one for 100,000. There were a few of them.
A few.
Do you know what that 100K could do? Anyway, we can go on about it forever and ever. Either way, they got duped, and I love it for them. Yeah, I love it for us.
Yeah. Well, not for us. I didn't get jack shit from that. But I love it for them.
Yeah, I love to see it. So now Bill is literally like looking through thousands of bottles. Like, Bill's looking through the thousands of bottles that he has. 400 of them are proven fake, and those 400 in total cost him $4 million. So $4 million just a write-off because you bought fake wine. $4 million, and that's just what we know of. Who knows if there were more?
Yeah.
But I also think that he's, again, this shows how out of touch that he is, because you won't catch me, on the internet, on the web, anywhere, talking about how I was duped for $4 million.
Yeah.
Imagine how small $4 million is
For you to,
I might say, oh shit, like, I got duped and they took £40 from me, and I'm embarrassed, but it's £40 in the grand scheme of things. This guy, they scammed him $4 million for bottles of wine, and he's telling us that.
This is crazy. Yeah. But that's because for him, that $4 million is £40.
That's what I'm saying. That just shows me how small that $4 million is in the grand scheme of your earnings or your life or your net worth, whatever.
Crazy.
So now Bill, is mad, and he mad? He seems a bit perturbed,
at
best.
Yeah.
He's a bit like, I don't know if it's because there's been space and distance when this was made, but he just seems like, I mean, he tells the auction house, and they're like, well, you bought it, you drink it, And then Bill's like,
for some reason, Freud can answer why. I just hate being cheated. In the wine business, there's a code of silence. I'm not taking this.
and it's like, yeah, of course you hate being cheated. Everybody hates being cheated. No one likes being cheated.
Like, whoa, I just got scammed. Great news.
Wait.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about, Bill?
But I think that Bill was kind of mad at the time because, and I don't know if he was mad, I think it's a pride thing, which it would have to be because $4 million. Anyway.
Yeah, and also it's more like, oh, I'm this wine collector, I love wine, and you couldn't even spot, like, that it was fake.
But that's how you know it's bullshit, because they're not even drinking it. He's actually just collecting it, so it's just a bottle you're selling me. Which is why I get why Rudy did this, because these are collectors. Like, no one's ever going to drink this wine.
Old white men get horny over, like, the craziest
Dumb
shit, man. This is a bit of glass. And some fermented grape juice.
And some paper on the top.
Fermented grape juice, and this is why your dick is hard. It's weird.
Hard, $4 million hard.
To each their own. Yeah.
Bill's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not a dickhead. So he hires someone to investigate Rudy, Also suspicious of Rudy is Laurent Poisson, who is the guy from the beginning, the Burgundy winemaker. Okay, he meets up with Rudy, and like he's kind of like, okay, so it's almost like the way I understood it. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is like Laurent makes the wine, and he distributes it. And then people sell it. They buy it from the distributors and they sell it.
Yeah, he's the winery. Like, so he's making it and like giving it and selling it, but it's his brand.
It's his brand. So he's kind of like to Rudy, okay, so where did you buy this wine from?
Because I need to get to the bottom of the fake.
Is it one of my distributors? Exactly. Rudy can't say where he bought it from because, spoiler alert, he didn't buy it. He makes it, And so then Laurent Poisson is like, oh, I'm going to befriend him so I can get information about
This
him.
was such a stupid tactic because I don't even know. And like this Mr. Croissant just kept getting hella flights up and down for chats
that too has too much money.
Like, this is a definition of that call could have been an email. That meeting could have been an email. Like, this croissant guy is flying from like
you're rude.
Like one place to the other, and it's like he's going to ask one simple question.
Continents.
Like, he gets to this continent and he's like, oh, is this and this, and someone's like, no, and then he flies back to
another
the land of baguette.
I think he just wanted to get away.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, this was like in the early 2000s, or like, this was like early 2000s. This wasn't like, oh, there was no phone call or email.
It's
like, this
weird.
literally could have been an email. Could have been 3 emails max. And you would have known what you wanted.
Just say you want to fly. It's okay. You don't need to.
Just say I have money.
Befriending Rudy was one lunch Like, I'm not going to be your mate after one lunch. Like,
it doesn't make sense. And also, like, you suspect he's doing something illegal, which he's actually doing. Why would he ever disclose that to you?
yeah. Doesn't
As
matter
the
how
person that he's low-key cheating.
it doesn't matter how friendly you get, like, crazy.
So back to our investigator, they find out that Rudy had a student visa which has elapsed, right? And so there's a warrant for his arrest in 2003. And so they're undergoing removal proceedings, I guess, to get him out of the country. So if he leaves the country, he can't get back into America because his visa has elapsed, yeah? And it's also very crazy because we see so much footage of him, and sometimes, or most of the time, it's contradicting what has been said. So in this bit where the investigator is like, oh, you know, he can't leave America because of his visa status, there's a clip of him saying, oh, how much he loves traveling and all this stuff. It's like, you know damn well you can't leave this place because your visa is expired. It's like, you know that for a fact. The editing was so shady with that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Laurent Poisson, oh no, you got me saying it. Laurent Poisson, he's like, where are you buying these fake wines? And Rudy admits that Rudy admits, yeah, that someone called Pak Hendra, this man in Jakarta in Indonesia, gives him the wine. And so he gives Laurent 2 numbers. One turns out to be a fax number and one just doesn't go through.
But at this point, really should have quit whilst he was ahead. I would have just left the country. Just
yeah,
deport yourself.
Can't get back in.
Yeah, then just deport yourself back and somehow you wiggle your way back in. Like, at this point, because the end result was worse. But if he had gone, they wouldn't have caught him by now.
Yeah, but then he wouldn't have been making 25k per...
Yeah, but at this point, he was at the... Yeah, he must have known.
And I also feel like
jig
there's
was
a rush,
fucking
there's a
up.
thrill in this. Like, I don't know, there must be some... It's like, why does anyone do dumb crime? Or why does anyone, like, stay in a crime for too long? There's a thrill, there's a reason, there's a je ne sais quoi, you know, that keeps you in the... You know?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he's dumb. He's dumb as fuck. But I'm glad that he was successful for as long as he was. I would say, yeah. So the other number that he gives him turns out to be Lion Air, which is an airline, and it just essentially these numbers don't work. And the one that he does finally get through to has never heard of Rudy, right? So looking hella suspicious, okay. And then Laurent Poisson goes to Asia. This is what Forenz was talking about. He goes to Asia to find Pak Hendra. And when people do this, whether it's in documentaries, whether it's in TV shows, whether it's in films, I just think to myself, did you just get on a plane and go, like, what did you hope to find from this flight? Did you just think that you were going to land in this country
and the man would be meeting you at the airport? Like, oh, I've been waiting for you.
We're holding up your name.
Like,
is that what you thought was going to happen? So he goes to Hong Kong, he goes to Singapore, he goes to Taipei, and he goes to Taipei and Taiwan because apparently that's where all the rich people from East Asia go to have fun. Like, Taiwan is that spot. He's like...
So I knew a lot of these people from Jakarta. And I would ask, do you know of Mr. Pak Hendra? Finally, I found out that Pak means Mr. and Hendra is like Smith. So this is the most used name in Indonesia.
He's trying to find, Laurent Poisson basically spent money to find out that Pak Hendra was the name, Pak means Mr. and Hendra is like a very common name like Smith. So Laurent Poisson, went to all over Asia really, because he went to all these countries, only to be told that you're looking for Mr. Smith.
Could you not just have sent an email to one of your friends? It's like me going to Nigeria trying to find Mr. Adewale. Bro, like, it's about a million of them niggas. Like,
you're gonna get a bunch of people saying yes.
Yeah, that's me. So really, what I really need to do is speak to my friends who live there and be like, oh, do you know this guy? And then they could be like, oh, mate, this is such a common name.
And narrow it down.
Can you help me narrow it down? All of this could have been an email. What are you doing?
Which he eventually did, but he did that while he was there.
And then flights
he went
to
all the way
Asia
there to find out.
Are long. So you were stewing on this plane for X amount of hours over something that you could have just sent a quick message. WhatsApp was about then.
In first class though, so he's probably comfortable doing so.
Either way, you're stewing.
Yeah. Now we meet James Wynn, an FBI agent with a history in art fraud. And we see video of Rudy's deposition in 2011.
I feel like all this art fraud, wine fraud, this is where your career goes to die.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry, but you're not saving lives. You're not saving lives. You're not saving lives. Like, you're not doing a damn thing.
For this, but I literally feel like
who died from art fraud?
I feel like it's when you're like they're trying to figure out how to get you into retirement, so they put you in this kind of like
it's like Florida.
Yeah, and then it's where your career goes to just, it's the end. You know that your time is up because what the fuck is this?
But I feel like they probably like it though because they don't really have to do anything. And the people whose crimes. So for example, this whole FBI situation comes about because of Bill Koch here, and he's a rich guy. So you're on the rich guy's side. Do you get what I mean? Like the rich guy is like.
Yeah, but it's not like he's gonna give you $1 million bottle of wine because you cracked the case.
No. Maybe a fake one. Rudy's deposition, we see a video, 2011. This comes about because the Bill Koch guy, the guy with the $100,000 bottle of wine, his lawyers interview Rudy about the fake wines that he had bought from. Bill Koch buys the wines from a collector, but that collector had bought them from Rudy. Yeah. So we go down the chain of command. Basically, we realize it's from Rudy, and Rudy's not defensive. He's not really answering the questions. He's just going round and round and not really saying much of anything.
That's the best way.
Honestly. And then also the part, because also it's just stupid. Like, I'm sorry, you have me here, you're questioning me about wines. I'm like Anyway, John Capon, the auction guy that Rudy was sort of like coupled up with, I'm talking like Love Island, that Rudy was like in a partnership with, that's done now because everyone's suspicious of Rudy. This is around 2008. In 2009, Christie's, which is a very renowned auction house, sells his wine under his name, and this is giving like Anne Friedman, Nodler Gallery vibes. That's episode 42 that we did. The Made You Look one. It's giving the same vibe. Like, okay, you think it's fake, but I feel like I know better, and I don't think it's fake, so I'm gonna sell it, and I'm very well renowned and all that kind of stuff. So this talking head that we see finds out about this and posts a warning, and it goes viral. I guess viral in the wine world.
Because I ain't see shit about shit.
Honestly. At this point, Rudy's getting sloppy because there's even a typo on the label. I'm just like, bro, like, if you're gonna crime, you're eating the rich, you're drinking the rich, you're flogging them. Do it correctly.
No, but at this point, he's just doing it for banter, I think.
I
Even
think so.
he
I think
knew.
it's just like, it literally just vibes.
The jig was up.
So Hollywood Jeff, remember him? He doesn't believe that Rudy has done this, and I'm just like, Hollywood Jeff, are you fucking stupid? Like, are you actually fucking stupid? Like, the FBI visit him, and he's like, no, you've got the wrong guy. It could never be Rudy, not my Rudy. And then he even calls Rudy after, and he's like, hey babe, just letting you know, I don't believe it, but this is what's going on. And Rudy's like, listen, don't worry, dude, it's under control. The FBI go to arrest Rudy. No one answers, and they're about to break in because these men love to break in. You can't just ring a doorbell and wait patiently. They love to break in. So as they're about to break in, Rudy answers the door looking like he's just got out of bed. And Rudy's done for this because what's his name warned you. Hollywood Jeff warned you. You had time to get your affairs in order. Anyway, we see pictures of the house. There is wine everywhere.
In the kitchen sink, there were 2 or 3 bottles soaking. The labels were being soaked off the bottles. There were 2 or 3 bottles sitting next to the kitchen sink waiting to be labeled. There was a cork extraction device. There was a recorking device. There was, in effect, a mixing station of somewhere around 20 bottles sitting in the kitchen, all sorts of California wines. And there were notations. Change the year, the vintage, change the size, remove a serial number. And we found bottles that were unlabeled that had handwritten notations like formulas. There were labels and labels and labels, thousands of labels, banded like U.S. currency. The thermostat was set at like 63 degrees, and in this $1 million house, they used space heaters in the 2 bedrooms where they slept. In a storeroom, there were racks and racks of wine, and on the treadmill, there were 18 waiting to be labeled. There was a stencil, there were old wooden crates throughout the house. There were boxes with real labels like a library. There was everything you'd ever need to make fake wine.
There's wine in the kitchen sink. There's bottles soaking, labels being soaked off. There's bottles waiting. There's
wine on the treadmill.
There is so much stuff that is just indicative of fake
counterfeiting.
It literally is so. It's like as if they put a blue light and then there was blood everywhere. It literally is like, oh my god, did you even try? It was like, you are guilty. You are going to jail.
Caught you red-handed.
Literally red-handed. And we see pics of all of it. I was just looking, I was shaking my head. I was like, oh, Rudy, no, like, Rudy, we had such a good thing going. Like, what are you doing?
What Rudy had going for him was his victims were stupid. Ultimately, a lot of these rich people...
And also quite entitled.
Yeah, a lot of these rich people are stupid. Like,
Yeah.
because why wouldn't you be with something like this when you've got so much money? Like, you don't need to, do you know what I mean? So,
You don't
like,
have to check, yeah.
yeah, like for me, if I'm going to spend £100,000 on a bottle of wine, best believe I'm going to check and double check it and consult the oracles before I bring out that money. But
Yeah.
for you, when that 100,000 is the equivalent of me maybe spending 100, of course you're going to be a bit frivolous.
Yeah, I just think that, like, they're stupid with their money. Like, they
Yeah.
don't, it's nothing to them. It's nothing to them. So they just think, and also I feel
That's
like
why
there's a
Rudy
certain
got
level
away
of,
with
like,
it.
yeah, there's a certain level of, like, entitlement and, like, I know better, and, like, who could ever try and, like, do you know what I mean? There's almost like superiority where you just kind of think like, oh, I don't know. It's madness regardless, yeah. So we still see talking heads who don't believe it. Still, Hollywood Jeff, even after presented with the evidence, yeah, he tells us he still he didn't believe it. He's like, nah. And again, I feel like it's this thing of, if I believe that he did it, yeah, what does that say about me and my judgment?
Yeah.
It's better for me to hold on to the fact that he's innocent, yeah, than to admit that, like, I was wrong about him.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I don't know if you've seen Traitors, yeah, on BBC, yeah. It's the same thing with the traitors. Like, they didn't want to believe this guy was a traitor, yeah, and it was so obvious, even to the last second. It was like, this guy is a fucking traitor, yeah, and they didn't want to believe it because it's like, if I believe he's a traitor, then who am I? Like, how can I trust myself and my instincts? So it's one of those sorts of situations where Hollywood Jeff is like, yeah, I don't believe it, and I'm like, brother, fucking believe it because it's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we get on-screen text that tells us that Rudy is charged and taken to a detention center in New York City. He's not given bail because they think he's going to run away, which obviously he would have, because then he would listen to your advice, Forens, and be like, yeah, let me just piss off now because the jig is up, right? So we meet this guy called Jerome Mooney and Vincent Verderamo, who are his defense attorneys, and they're obviously here to defend Rudy, yeah, but, like, they are the same, they're the us of this documentary, because Jerome is like,
if you want to take everything they're saying as true for purposes of argument, and again, I'm not stipulating that, but if you want to take everything they're saying as true, we're talking about wine here.
Rudy was only doing some reconditioning, which basically makes the bottles look newer, and Vincent is like, at the end of the day, we're talking about wine. Like, I feel like Vincent wanted to say, this is some bullshit.
Like, this is some fucking bullshit.
People are dying every day, even at the hands of you officers, yeah? And what we're doing is talking about wine. Are you serious?
I agree.
And then apparently, 90% of the wines that Rudy sold were real. And
which
to be
that
honest,
has to count for something.
No, but Hollywood Jeff tells us that. So consider the source, yeah. And also, where are these percentages coming from? Because we know that 400 of the ones that he sold, my man, were fake. So, I mean, let's be honest, let's be real, yeah. Like, so there's just scenes of all these wine guys drinking wine, and it's like, this is what Forens was saying in the beginning. It's so pretentious. Like, one of them is like, all of them are basically like, yeah, I think this is real, I think this is real. Then at the end, one of them is like, nah, this is fake. And they're all just like, oh yeah, you know, actually. I'm like, hello. It's just everyone's bluffing. Everyone's bluffing. No one knows anything.
No one knows anything. Everything is nothing. Just shut the fuck up.
Everything is nothing and nothing is anything. Like, honestly. So this is where we see our familiar face, federal prosecutor Jason Hernandez. He was in that art fraud episode 42, yeah. And he's here to basically tell us that there's so much evidence against Rudy. No one knows where his money came from. His name isn't even really his name. It's the name of some famous Indonesian badminton player. But to his credit, yeah, that is actually his real name. It's just that because Rudy is of Chinese descent and they lived in Indonesia, they changed his name because apparently they weren't treated favorably or whatever. But anyway, that's the story that they're given, yeah. His family are in on the scams. We see his brothers in like the videos. They never explain why we have so much footage of Rudy
and his family.
There's so much like of like him talking about wines and stuff. I'm like, it's almost as if they were making a documentary on Rudy,
but then it's
like as if like, you know, when we watched the Influencer of Soho, when we did that one, and like Anna Delvey was having them make an documentary of her. It's almost as if it was like that, and then like in this case they used that footage in their own documentary. It's very weird, but anyway, everyone's in on the scam. And his brothers, they just brush past this as if this is normal behavior, yeah. They stole millions of dollars from Indonesian banks.
It wasn't his brothers, it was his mum's brothers. His
uncles, family. They just stole, they just walked out with it.
And that's,
like, and they've recovered less than 1/10 of that.
As you fucking do.
I'm just like, rah. Sometimes I wish my family were bold enough to do such mad things so I could reap the benefits
but
without
not
the guilt.
without. Yeah.
But no, they're all lovers of Christ and believers of God. Yes, anyway, documentary is coming to an end now. Rudy is convicted and given 10 years in a California prison. And not only that, he's told to pay $28.5 million back to victims, which obviously is never going to happen.
Yeah.
Of course it's not going to happen.
So it's all just a joke. But 10 years...
It's all just a joke.
Like, that's deep, because you're in prison with all sorts, right? And then, like, there are these guys in there that are in there for, like... I mean, maybe they put him in a low-security prison, but either way, like...
I would hope so.
There are people in there that would have done some fucked up shit.
Crazy things.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, what did you do? And you're like, oh, yeah, I just faked some wine.
Stuck some stickers on a bottle.
Like, that is wild. For 10 years...
It doesn't make sense.
The punishment didn't
Hollywood
suit
Jeff
the
at this
crime.
point finally accepts that he's been duped, but he says that he forgives him. Okay, I feel like part of this documentary was like Hollywood Jeff's like coming to terms with the fact that
and it was also Mr. Croissant's journey into being
just flying around
detective.
frivolously.
Yeah, because he feels very fulfilled with himself at the end, and I feel like
but then he didn't do anything.
But that's to you. I feel like for him, his whole life dream was to just be some sort of detective, and maybe he feels like he did that.
Pyro. Is that his name? Pyro, that one with the moustache.
Yeah.
Anyway, no one else is prosecuted in connection with the case, and that's it.
That's it. That's that on that.
It. That is that on motherfucking that. I sympathy capped at even 2%.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a heck.
Victimless crime as far as I'm concerned.
As far as I'm concerned.
Everyone should just drink cheap wine and be happy. So
and
you're
be
gonna
merry,
pee
like,
out and shit out anyways. So I'm so sorry to be crude, but it is the truth. So
now it's time for
the real crime, I think, was the beard.
Our segment where we focus on something during the documentary that may not be criminal, but we definitely consider to be a crime. Have you got one?
It was Jeff's like whole attire. So he had like this floppy hair, sunglasses, and biker jacket.
Very dishevelled.
Like you can just tell, like he's one of those rich guys that thinks he's super young and sleeps with like 20-year-old models. You can just tell.
Yeah, who like are just doing it for the money.
Yeah, that was his whole vibe.
Yeah,
he had That's like he has no true swagger or like anything.
He's not saucy.
Yeah, no sauce.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of rich guys don't have to be. Well, they feel like they don't have to be because they have money.
Yeah,
but it's like that's not real. That's not true sauce. Like true sauce really is from within. Yeah. The real crime, I think, was the fact that at the end, like they destroy all the fake wines, like they throw it in a skip.
I'm
just like, bro, it's not poisonous, it's just a mixture. Because what he was doing, I don't know if I explained, was he was mixing different wines and like had different formulas and stuff to basically give the same sort of taste as the real wine, right?
And so when you ask yourself, what's the difference? If I ask for like an almond,
a grape is a grape is a grape.
If I ask for an oat milk latte, right, and you mix, I don't know how to, but for me, what I'm saying is, if the taste is the same, what is it not actually the wine? Why does it have to be fermented for 20 years if it tastes the exact fucking same? And they were wasting.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah. And this is why they feel dumb, yeah, because if you can be fooled by a wine that I made in my kitchen, yeah, and that wasn't actually stomped by maids 18,000 years ago, yeah, then you feel dumb because you think to yourself, fuck, this is all for nothing. But again, it's the whole feeling of I've invested so much into this particular thing, this hobby, this skill, this whatever, that now I look like a dickhead if I can just accept that this guy just made something up and it's the same.
Yeah. So
you're not going to accept that. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, they throw the wine away, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, but what, like, why would you do that?
How did we get here?
How did, like, nobody's supposed to be here? Like, why would you do that? I don't understand.
And they were happy doing it. It was a very weird.
I was like, if I worked there, oh my days, now I have a wine cellar full of wine, full of Remini Conti.
Literally.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
wild.
That was that.
What are we doing next?
We're doing the Andrew Tate Vice documentary. I can't even remember. I can never remember what anything's called.
It's called The Dangerous Rise of Andrew Tate.
There we go. This documentary.
I can't believe that we're doing this.
Things to say. I think it's a good time to do it. He's been in the news quite a lot recently, actually. So.
I watched it and I was just like.
Yeah. But I was surprised by a lot of things. Not in a good way. It's never a good way with him. But yeah. anyways, we'll talk about that next week.
We sure will. In the meantime, between time, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. 2 Girls 1 Doc. On TikTok, we are 2 Girls 1 Doc podcast. If you've got anything to say to us specifically, just DM us on Instagram, wherever.
Yeah.
Any recommendations? We have had some recommendations actually, and we are scheduling them in, so thank
we're
you very, very
working our
much
way.
for those. And yeah, that is it. Have you got anything else that you want to say? Where can people find you?
Instagram 4ends the foodie, TikTok 4ends the foodie, and other than that, under my man.
Okay, on that note, let me finish my wine. I'm so hungry.
Same.
I'm so hungry.
Do you ever wonder why some people who you've never heard of before all of a sudden appear everywhere? Andrew Tate! Andrew Tate is an Anglo-American kickboxer turned influencer whose extreme misogynist videos have helped make him the most viral man in the world.
Bang out the machete, boom in her face, then grip her up by the neck. Like, shut up, bitch!
On December 29th, he and his brother were arrested by Romanian police as part of a rape and human trafficking investigation.
The Matrix has attacked me.
A few months before their arrest, I was in Romania trying to get access to their so-called secret society, the War Room.
The War Room is the most powerful network on the face of the planet today.
Andrew Tate. To get inside, I had agreed to endure a professional cage fight in Romania.
I know he's gonna lose, but wow, he's actually in there.
Along with 100 Tate superfans.
We shouldn't be slaves. We shouldn't be working 9-to-5 jobs.
I need to grow. I need to get better. I need to evolve. I'm not tough on myself. Nobody else will be. That's what I learned from Andrew Tate.
This shiny hole. Hold on to it.
What I found out.
My plan was to sow anarchy.
Is that the real story?
This is definitely a hit piece. I don't care.
Began years ago.
There's not a single female complaining.
Do you think there's not a single female complaining?
Have you seen one? Tell me.
My ex-boyfriend was radicalized by Andrew Tate. He was sweet and I guess vulnerable.
People don't know what he's done.
I don't feel like I'm eating enough at lunch, you know, because I just be so hungry. By the time it gets to like 4, I'm like, oh my god.
Possibly not, or you're not having a good enough breakfast. If I have a good breakfast, I'm okay for lunch. Like, try porridge in the morning, it sustains.
Yeah, no, I can't eat porridge on the way to work. I normally eat on the way to work. So I can have like toast or bagel, and then I can eat it while I'm driving.
Why can't you eat when you get into the office?
Oh, because by then I have to control my anxiety.
Is it brown toast?
No.
Try brown toast.
Why? Is brown toast fill you up more?
It's got more fibre, it's less refined, so it's better for you. It'll fill you up better.
Yeah. Well, I had bagel. They don't make brown bagels, do they?
They do.
Okay. I've never seen that
you
in my life.
blinded yourself to it.
I was like, I'm safe.
You blinded yourself to it. If you have that, like if I have a porridge in the morning, I could do a light lunch and I won't be hungry for a long time.
Yeah.
Because that is very...
Oh my god, you'd be so proud of me. I drank so much water today. For me.
My heart.
But you know what? When I drink water, like I feel so much better.
So why don't you just do it?
Do you know what it is? I realised, because I set myself a target today, and I was like, before lunch, because normally I set myself the target of just finishing, hold on, let me show you my bottle. Of just finishing one of these, like while I'm at work.
Yeah.
It's like 750, milliliters, And then today I was like, you know what? I'm going to set myself the target where like I drink the whole thing before lunch, and then I fill it up, and then I drink the whole thing again after lunch, because I can do that, right? Mm-hmm. In the morning, there were bare delays, so like I had loads of time in between patients, and I basically finished it, Well, I got to like, probably had like 250 milliliters left, And then in the afternoon, it was like rapid, and I just didn't drink any of it. And I think what happens is I'm so busy at work, I just forget to drink. And because it's not in my nature to drink, I have to force myself. So when I'm busy, I just like forget.
Yeah, which is understandable.
And then I take the same bottle of water home, and I'm like, fuck, I didn't drink any of that.
Yeah, that's understandable. But you should try. Like, I've got a water reminder on my phone. You should get one of those.
I had that. I was just airing it all the time.
I can't help you.
But no, I feel so much better now. Like literally, I feel alive.
Yeah.
I feel like my cells are like, yeah, girl. More.
It does help. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Anyway, I thought you'd be proud of me, so I thought I'd share that with you.
I am.
But yeah.
All right, guys. If you're still here, well, thank you.
I don't know why.
Genuinely.
Well, yeah, till next week. Drink your water. Eat your brown toast.
All right. Bye.